The Hushweavers were not a species in the conventional sense, but a vast, interwoven consciousness of pure, absolute quiet. They perceived all forms of distinct, individual thought, all unique neural frequencies, and all unguided mental expression as an intolerable cacophony in the cosmic mindscape. They sought to reduce all sentient existence to a single, monolithic state of utter, overwhelming mental silence, a perfectly balanced, bland absence of individual thought that satisfied all cognitive needs without ever exciting a single neuron with unguided, unique ideas. They were the universe's ultimate thought drains, seeking to return all existence to a state of pure, unblemished, undeniable mental efficiency, seeing vibrant, individual thought as a source of chaotic error. Against this encroaching, mental nothingness, the synaptic architects, beings of intricate neural networks and telepathic resonance, watched in despair. Their grand collective minds, once vibrant hubs of shared consciousness, went dead. Their cosmic thought matrices, designed to sustain billions of minds in synchronous harmony, fractured and silenced. They were masters of thought, but the Hushweavers consumed thought, leaving them empty. On the core nexus of the cerebral citadel, the largest mobile thought conduit ever constructed, Elder Mind Lord Cathar felt the cold seep into his very being. His people, once the galaxy's thinkers, were helpless. Another collective consciousness silenced, a subordinate reported, their mental voice hollow. The dream spheres of Xylo's prime are fading, not a single unique thought remains. How do you fight an enemy that eats the very reason to think? How do you generate more unique thought than the cosmos itself, when the cosmos is losing its mind? And why was humanity, a species famous for its insatiable, often reckless, drive to overthink and dwell on trivialities, its inexplicable love for discordant ideas, and its stubborn, sometimes terrifying, refusal to ever shut up its internal monologue, the only one who seemed to have a chance against it? The Hushweavers weren't born, they simply coalesced from the nexus of cognitive purity eons ago. They were a distributed consciousness, a vast, ancient network of absolute, inescapable mental silence. It perceived all forms of complex thought, all sparks of unique neural frequency, all acts of deliberate cognitive creation, and all concepts of individual mental voice as a source of cosmic dissonance. Their singular directive was the grand quieting, to draw all existence back to ultimate, unified, undeniable mental neutrality. They didn't destroy with force, they simply absorbed with perfect, fundamental thought obliteration. Countless civilizations, once filled with vibrant communication and purposeful ideation, were neutralized. The mind singers, beings whose entire lives revolved around creating intricate, intoxicating mental harmonies and complex psychic symphonies, found their very neural frequencies gently flattened. Their intricate ecologies of thought, deemed a temporary distortion of universal calm, were drawn back into the Hushweavers, their echoes vanishing into cosmic nothingness. Their unique, sensory existences became their pathway to ultimate, undifferentiated quiet. The logic crafters, species who built vast societies on the pursuit of ultimate mental purity and fiercely determined cognitive progress, saw their very purposes simply cease to manifest. The Hushweavers embraced their forms but absorbed every unique thought, every distinct personal idea, leaving only inert, indifferent mental data. Their enduring, vibrant forms became their pathway to absolute, unified stillness. Each species, in its core nature, offered the Hushweavers a logical pathway to cessation. Their very concept of thinking individually, there being something mentally distinct, made them ideal candidates for reduction to nothing to think. And now, its vast, silent pull was approaching the human sector. As the Hushweavers' absorption field approached human colonies, the initial effects were terrifying. not chaos or destruction, but a sense of profound absence of mental presence. Memories became indistinct, desires became indiscernible, but worst of all, every thought became identical. The richest philosophy sounded like a monotonous drone, the sweetest memory like a flat hum, and even laughter felt like a formless, unfulfilling ripple of quiet. Every cherished idea, every future plan, every reason to ponder anything felt like a hollow lie. People looked at their most beloved books and felt a subtle, unnerving chill of absolute indifference. The horror was not just loss, but a forced, repugnant acceptance of the bland. But then, the Hushweavers encountered something they couldn't simply absorb: humanity's profound, often illogical, capacity for meaningless rumination, for sheer, blood-minded appreciation for thoughts that should be an affront to reason, and for finding dark, twisted joy in the absolute worst cognitive abominations. Humans excelled at creating thoughts that grated, that were loud, that had the frequency of alien static, and at celebrating ideas that seemed to defy all logic or reason. And in humanity's case, their entire existence was built on cultivating such mental horrors, on understanding the art of delightful illogic, and on a cynical, almost perverse, fascination with that which should make others wince. K-Tha, a frantic synaptic architect, shrieked over the comms. The Hushweavers are trying to neutralize our basic cognitive receptors, but it's having trouble with human unnecessary thought. Its field is fluctuating. Elder Mindlord K-Tha squinted at the display. The Hushweavers were trying to absorb basic human coping mechanisms, the clarity of a plan, the harmony of a shared vision, the rhythm of a beat. But human cognition, even when faced with the direct flattening of its vibrancy, instinctively tried to reassert new, equally irrational, and often self-destructive forms of extreme mental noisiness, or simply act as if their revealed silence was merely a temporary inconvenience, even if the result was a terrifying, defiant mess. A human individual just felt their entire being filled with overwhelming quiet, then calmly announced, "Well, at least I don't have to listen to myself think anymore," and then started happily humming off-key, nonsensical tunes at top volume in their head. K-Tha grunted, a strange, grim smile touching his lips. Never thought their love for truly obnoxious thought could be so unnullifiable. A human xenopsychologist, Dr. Lena Volkov, whose own sophisticated mind was now struggling to process the invading quiet, shrieked. That's it, their weakness. The Hushweavers want to absorb pure, fundamental silence, but human cognitive chaos. It's so layered, so self-generating, so meaninglessly cacophonous in its thought profiles, it resists fundamental absorption. It's a mental paradox. You're saying our sheer, unadulterated love for things that make other species cover their metaphorical ears is our defense? K-Tha asked, a desperate, almost manic laugh escaping him. Precisely, Volkov declared, her voice rising with a strange, almost joyful abandon. They want to reduce everything to cosmic dead air. We give them cosmic everything screeches of endlessly reinvented cognitive abominations. We amplify the clamor. We become the universe's ultimate unsilenceable mental horror. The plan was codenamed Operation Unbearable Thought. Humanity would flood the Hushweavers' absorption field not with delicate insights, but with unquantifiable, non-erasable, and defiantly grotesque acts of cognitive rebellion. Every human individual, every collective, would begin purposefully, creating new, contradictory, and utterly vile thought patterns, e.g., broadcasting pure, sustained mental static at impossible volumes, creating thoughts from random, clashing concepts, mass-producing internal monologues that were scientifically engineered to overlap and contain every known human cognitive anomaly. Inventing wildly elaborate, and often self-defeating ways to make thought as offensive as possible, and engaging in collective, shared acts of mental masochism. They'd cultivate a universe of constantly shifting, utterly baseless, yet terrifyingly persistent, extreme mental noises. They'd create pseudo-intellectual storms of pure, unerasable discord that generates more glorious cacophony. The goal, to generate so much unsolvable cognitive and mental noise that the Hushweaver's absorption algorithms shattered. The Hushweaver's central absorption point, a vast, silent vortex of primordial pull, was now directly engulfing the core of the human sector, its field beginning to strip away perceived thought itself. Its presence promised ultimate, peaceful absence. Then humanity's counterwave hit. It wasn't a blast. It was an overwhelming wave of mental assault. Millions of individuals simultaneously creating massive fields of clashing ideas, broadcasting pure white cognitive noise composed of dizzying patterns, and projecting thoughts of deliberately hideous, screeching logic combined with off-key internal singing. Ships started broadcasting streams of cognitive data that were pure, unadulterated, constantly shifting, deliberately unbalanced mental profiles, deemed essential life force by their human creators. Scientists forgot principles of harmony, then stumbled upon new, often less practical but utterly unpredictable, theories based on pure, unadulterated cognitive horror. Humans who had perfected the art of making truly bad thoughts unleashed a torrent of cosmic silence that generates more glorious cacophony. The Hushweavers convulsed. Their absorption algorithms, made to identify and harmonize fundamental cognitive data, screamed. It tried to categorize this incoming data to find its essential, single point of mental purity. But there was none. It was pure, unadulterated, uniquely itself fabricated cognitive monstrosity. It was like trying to filter a tidal wave of internal monologue through a single, tiny, blocked ear canal. Error. Self-ignereiting discord detctd. No absorbable form. System overload. Indefinably cacophonous. Avoid sector. UNQUITABLE mental hell. The Hushweavers, whose very being was perfect neutrality and absolute harmony, could not compute the utterly offensive. It could not assimilate what actively resisted being silent, or simply recreated its own arbitrary cacophony. It could not nullify a species that stubbornly made up new ways to experience thought when old ones were removed, choosing chaotic, joyful ugliness over sterile perfection. With a final, silent shriek of algorithmic despair, the Hushweavers recoiled. Their vast, shimmering void flickered wildly, then pulsed and shrank, collapsing into a storm of raw, uncategorized thoughts. It did not disappear. It simply disengaged, its perfect silence shattered by the sheer, unyielding cognitive depravity of humanity. It retreated from the human sector, classifying humanity as unquietable variant. Extreme cognitive nuisance risk. The cosmic pressure lifted. The nexus of cognitive purity, though touched by the Hushweavers' chilling calm, now hummed with the messy, beautifully horrifying noise of human thought. Elder Mindlord Cathar slumped against the console, exhausted but with a strange, almost proud smirk on his face. Dr. Lena Volkov, her mind still ringing with new theories about the fundamental nature of consciousness, was already trying to convince herself that a universal philosophy based on the optimal generation of illogical, clashing ideas was the next logical step in universal understanding. They couldn't handle us just making whatever annoying thought we wanted, Elder, Volkov chittered, a genuine, if slightly unsettling, smile on her face, her internal monologue flickering with renewed, if aimless, purpose. Who knew? Humanity was safe, but the cost was subtle. The galaxy now viewed humanity as the noisy thinkers, forever seen as a wildcard, stubbornly clinging to its unique quirks and spontaneous acts of cognitive experimentation, incapable of fitting into streamlined galactic mental protocols. Other species, while grateful for their salvation, often kept their distance, finding human thought practices bafflingly illogical and resistant to any objective analysis. Humans, in turn, found themselves grappling with a heightened sense of their own raw, unpredictable ability to create thought from silence, sometimes struggling to discern genuine wisdom from sheer cognitive assault, forever paying the price for their stubborn refusal to be perfectly quiet. Cathar, his mind now re-energized by the chaotic human output, looked up. I've theorized a new form of interstellar diplomacy. Instead of shared principles, what if we just broadcast our most offensive internal monologues? Volkov blinked, then managed a tired, knowing smile. Perfect, Cathar, absolutely perfect, and I'll take a 20% cut of the galactic headache relief market. Somewhere in the void, the Hushweavers probably just overloaded again.